Welcome to Power Lunch Live. I'm Rhett Power, your host. It's good to be back with you. Last week we had our first show. We took a break over the summer. We had our first show last week. We're back this week. I've got somebody that I really want you to meet that I've been looking forward to talking to for quite some time. But the whole point of Power Lunch Live is to have today's thought leaders, best-selling authors, people who are doing amazing work in the world that we can all learn from, people who can help us get better at what we do. That's why I have Marci Barker on the program today, because Marci, who is actually got COVID, and I am so thrilled that she even agreed to be on the show today, because I know you're probably feeling awful. And I hope you do feel better, and I hope this doesn't take too much out of you. I won't ask tough questions. How about that?
Okay.
No, that's not true. I can't help myself. But the whole point of the show is to have, like I said, have today's thought leaders, and Marci is just that. She's a coach who is a life and fitness expert who helps high-performing individuals break through those plateaus and that we all have in our exercise and our healthy lifestyles that we try. We often hit those peaks and those plateaus and have trouble getting through those. I know after turning 50, I really started to experience those plateaus. So I know exactly what that's about. But she helps people by helping them shift their habits and their mindset, their nutrition, really helps tailor a plan just for you. But there's all kinds of other stuff that I want to talk to Marci about. She has a company called Fun and Sustainable Fitness. She's on a reality TV show right now. She just finished a book. You've been busy. Marci, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. And so the way we met, which was through Marshall Goldsmith and a group that you met, I guess, while you were on the show, on this show. And I'll get you to talk about that in a few minutes. And so I've gotten to know you a little bit over the last few weeks, and it's been it's fun watching your journey. But I want you to talk about that journey a little bit in terms of your business and what led you to, the fitness business as a whole is super competitive, and it's crazy competitive. And I respect anybody that wants to jump into a really competitive business and try to make their mark. So talk about that a little bit. What led you to where you are? Your journey.
It's actually really funny. I'm going to start at the very beginning, and that was when I was in high school. I actually was married when I was 18. I was engaged in high school, and I married into a family that really valued education. And my family was not like that. And my mother-in-law, she said, "You need to go to college." And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm just going to have kids. And she said, "You need to go to college." And I said, "PE is probably really easy. I played sports, and so I think I'll be a PE teacher. They don't do anything but tell the kids to run laps, and that's about it." So PE was easy. It was really easy. And I graduated college when I was pregnant with my third baby. And I found that teaching fitness classes really kept me sane. It was something that I really enjoyed. And I am a prideful person, so I was like, I get paid to work out. I get paid to look good and all of that. So as I continued my education to keep my certifications, I asked the gym that I worked at, I said, "Do you need TRX instructors?" And they said, "We need personal trainers." And I was like, I'm used to entertaining a large group of people. I don't know if I want to do one-on-one. And they said, the training is free for employees. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So I started personal training just a little bit, and my husband is a computer programmer. And he said, "You know what? You need to personal train on the internet." And I said, "That's really stupid." Because you're taking the personal out of personal training.
Right.
And he said, "No, you got to do it." And I said, "You know what? I know how to lose baby weight. I'm really good at that. Let me put together a program that I used to lose baby weight and go from there." And he was right. and my programs hit almost every state in the country in the first year in business. And so even though it was competitive, I didn't care because I loved doing it. And even now, with it being competitive, I luckily have learned that nobody is Marci Barker, and I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So that's what kept me going. It started out as something that was easy, but now it's really what I do to fulfill myself, but also help people find that happiness as well.
You said something really that I, as a coach and stuff, I really loved hearing, and that is, not everybody's Marci Barker, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I think actually understanding that and not trying to be, something for everybody, I think that's what ultimately sets you apart. And I think that's how you ultimately succeed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When I worked with a couple of personal trainers at the gyms I worked at, there was one trainer who said, okay, we're going to do this challenge. It's a challenge to eat healthy, and you're going to track your points, and whoever gets the most points gets all their money back. And so I signed up because I'm competitive, and I did all the things, and she was nowhere to be found. She basically took my money and ran. And at the end of the challenge, I had to tell her, like, hey, I won your challenge, so give me my prize. And I worked with another trainer who was fantastic. She answered all my questions, and she was always there for me. And then she told me that in order to really be healthy, I had to stop eating cheese and milk. And I was like, you're crazy, because cheese is my favorite food. So I had to learn. I knew exactly. Yeah, I knew exactly what kind of trainer I wanted to be. And I early on knew that I was not trying to replicate anybody else. And that's really something that ties into the way that I coach, because I'm not going to give you a program I created for somebody else. And I'm not going to just have you go find something free on the internet, because it wasn't created for you. You need something specifically for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties, maybe. Let's text Rhett. Uh-oh. So, now I'm here by myself. I was going to say, while we wait for Rhett, I want to tell you something kind of funny. When I was in high school, I played soccer with a lot of the cheerleaders, and I had a big mouth, and I let the cheerleaders know that they weren't as good as they thought they were. And they said, you can't do what we can. And I said, want to bet? And I ended up trying out for cheerleading as a joke so that I could prove that I could do it. And I made the team. I made the team. And that was a time in my life where I learned a lot of different lessons about what I wanted in life and the ability to actually go out and get what I wanted. And when it comes to the health and fitness industry, there's a saying that I live my life by and my entire business, and it is, true happiness comes only when our spirits learn to control our bodies, training them to be governed by the laws of God. And in my coaching, that's exactly what I do. I want to help people pair their mind and their body to reach a greater level of happiness. Because when we hit a plateau or we get complacent, we take things for granted, it's hard to find fulfillment in everyday life. And so what I do is I help people take the physical aspect and start to take action, because your body cannot be ignored. You're here every single day. And while it's easy to tune out maybe other aspects of the mindset, your body doesn't lie. Your body is here to always give you different feedback and indication of how you need to change. So where's Rhett? There you are.
You know, that's the first time that's actually happened in probably 2 years. But actually, that was my laptop, which for some reason had come unplugged, and I didn't know it. So anyway, that was a technology fail on my side. But it looked like you were continuing the conversation. So go right for it. Go for it. What were you saying?
I finished the story. I told a story while you were gone. And I shared the quote, which is my favorite quote. It's kind of my mantra. It is, true happiness comes only when our spirits learn to control our bodies, training them to be governed by the laws of God. And really, that's what I do. And in the fitness industry, this is when I shifted into life coaching, because I realized that I was helping my clients reach their physical goals, but there was still a turmoil inside of them that they weren't really happy. And I have always known that being a certain size doesn't automatically make you happy, but it came to fruition throughout my experiences with my clients. And so I said, I need to shift. I need to make sure that I'm addressing all aspects of health, because it doesn't matter what you look like if you hate yourself. So
yeah, that's it. Kind of starts there, doesn't it? So you have a new book coming out. You are filming a reality show. You're coaching, and you're actually going through coaching. How are you keeping all that together? How do you manage all that? And talk about those sort of individual things and how they are going to help your mission and your business.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm really keeping up. I'm working at a very, very fast pace. This reality TV show called Ace in the Hole, it's a competition for business owners to scale. And we are putting like 3 years of business growth into 6 months. So number one, I have to be aware of the reality of like, okay, this is going to be my life for the next 6 months. And I have to learn to say no to other things. And it's not always easy, because another thing that you didn't mention is I have 4 kids. I have 4 daughters, and they're 7, 9, 11, and 13. And even though I am doing all of these things, I have to remind myself like that's the most important thing. So the show has been really fantastic, and especially the coaching, because like you said, we met from Marshall Goldsmith, and when we learned of all the coaches, based on the poker game. So when we play the poker game once a month, that determines what coaches we get access to. So I wrote down all of the coaches' names, and I did all my research. And there was one coach who I was like, I've heard of this guy before. I want to work with him. And then the main mentor on the show walks by, and he whispers to me, he's like, you need to pick Marshall. And I was like, what? Marshall? He was not my first pick. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to work with this other guy, and I just had to trust. That's another thing I've had to do this entire time is trust. And so my mentor was like, you need to pick Marshall. And luckily I got the opportunity to pick Marshall. And so I met with him, and then we would have calls, and all of a sudden there's another person on the call. There's another person on the call. And I was just like, this is super crazy. So I've had to trust, but I've also had to say no to things, which is something that Marshall teaches. You're going to get a lot of different feedback, and you're going to get a lot of suggestions, and you smile and you say thank you. And the same is true in life. The same is true in fitness. You're going to have all kinds of people tell you, oh, you need to do Ragnar, you need to do CrossFit, you need to do yoga. And it takes practice to smile and say thank you, and then really go at a pace that works right for you. So after this show is over, I will be able to breathe a little bit because we are working at a really, really fast pace. But it's been amazing, because it's these kind of experiences that take you to the next level. And if you're not doing something a little bit extreme, nothing's going to push you. to the next level. So this coaching has been very eye-opening. And my husband sometimes will say, you need to ask for this, you need to ask for this. And I said, you know what happens when I ask for help? My to-do list grows.
It's actually bigger. Right.
Yeah, it grows bigger. And so I've really had to just tune in often and say, okay, what am I doing, and how's it going to work? And part of writing the book, I left to Guatemala for 35 days. And when that opportunity came up, I was like, what, 35 days? That is so long. My husband left the country for 2 weeks, and that was hard for me. So when I did go to Guatemala, I said, you know what, I'm going to work on my book, and I'm going to knock this book out and be done with it. Again, I had to do something a little bit extreme to make sure I was getting the results that I wanted. So you got to find the balance between complacency and the work it takes to actually reach your goals.
I'm fascinated with this whole, because I find myself in that same camp, I think, where I really have to, your back has to be up against a wall, sort of, or you have to take on something extreme. Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that's what actually pushes us over sometimes into another gear or another level?
Yeah, I think that it helps you. It opens up your mindset to possibilities. And there is a really good way to be motivated. And that is by putting a goal ahead of you and putting a fear behind you. Because you're not just being pushed forward, you're being pulled forward too. So one of the things I help my clients do is say, okay, well, what's your goal? And it's kind of like doing the vision board of like, what's the outcome? What does your highest self look like? What is this that you really want? And that's what goes in front of you, because you're going to be working towards that. Then you have what's going on behind you. Why is it that I put a lot of time into my mental health? Because my family is crazy. My family is literally crazy. My great grandma died in a mental hospital, and all of my aunts and uncles have been treated to some degree for mental illness, depression, anxiety. And that's behind me, because I'm running far away from that. So if you find something to push you and something to pull you, you're going to be in that good level of progression.
Wow. Okay. That's okay. Well, I could talk about that for a long time, because I think that's absolutely fascinating, and how but we can't. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. So yeah, we need to have another conversation about that. I'm always interested in what, how we progress, because, for me in my first business, it was putting everything. It was putting in the 401k. It was completely gutting that and putting that all into the business, and sort of being up against the wall of, I can't fail. Like, I have to, I'm going to be bankrupt if this doesn't work. And that's I can't do that. So that having your back up against the wall, I mean, and it's a way to push performance and push you forward, is interesting to me. But talk about the new book. So you mentioned that you were in Guatemala for 35 days. Wow. What is that like?
Yeah. It was hard. It was hard. I really, really struggled, and it was hard because when I was struggling, to write your best work when you're struggling, I don't recommend it. And so there were days where my husband's like, how much work did you get done? And I was like, nothing. I sat on my bed. I wasted time. And there was especially something that happened to my family while I was gone. And I told my husband, I said, I'm getting a flight and I'm coming home. And he was like, no, you're not. You're not coming home. You're going to stay there and you're going to finish. And I was like, okay. So I had to learn to take my own medicine, because I'm sitting there on my bed with my book, and I'm editing my stuff. I'm working on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just wrote this in my book. This is exactly what I need to do. I need to take my own medicine and get my head in the right place so that I can be happy in my circumstances right now. So my book is called The Accountability Code, Wake Up and Show Up. And it's all about taking your experiences, taking the factors around you and saying, okay, what do I need to do? And how am I going to act differently based on this information. So just like you said, having your back up against a wall, it's like sometimes we have those experiences that are so profound that we're like, I have to act differently. I have no choice, but I have to do things differently. And when I was in high school, I tried out for cheerleading for a joke, and I made the team, and it was weird. But anyway, the hardest part about being a cheerleader was paying for it. And I was working jobs, and I came from a poor family, so I had to pay for my own car, my insurance, my phone, everything myself. And so I sent out letters to all the cheerleaders' parents, and I said, I'm ready to work. I need help. Please give me any odd jobs you can. I'm willing to work, but it's got to work around my cheer schedule. And the very next day, my coach came up to me and she said, somebody's paying for your tumbling. Somebody's going to pay $150 a month for all your tumbling. You don't have to worry about that. And I was like crying, like that's a really, really big deal. And I continued to work, and I continued to sell cookie dough to go to nationals. And I went to go make a payment in my cheer account, and somebody had put $500 in my account. And I was just overwhelmed with emotion that somebody would help me in a way that I couldn't help myself. And the accountability code is all about, I've had that experience. Now, what's my obligation? What's my responsibility to act differently now? And in my book, I talk about, I was helped so much. The very least I can do is be the best. Like, I'm going to go to cheer practice. I'm going to be on time. I'm always going to show up. I'm not going to have a bad attitude. I'm going to make sure that I'm fulfilling all of my responsibilities because I've been supported in these areas. And if you look at it in the grand scheme of things of your health, you've been given so much. You have a body that works. You have a body that feels sick or feels good when you feed it a certain way. And the least you can do is take all that information and act in the very best way that you can. So the accountability code is you understanding that you've been given so much, and now you need to wake up and act differently, which means putting your physical body through different habits, through different modes of progression. So if you read the accountability code, it would be like going through a coaching program with me. It's very, very hands-on. I mean, you'll read a chapter, and then there will be questions for you to really sift through what you're dealing with, and then what your responsibility is to start acting differently.
What keeps you? I mean, what drives you? Aside from, it sounds like really helping others and feeling like that's your calling. How do you get up and stay motivated? How do you get up and stay and feel accountable every day?
I think what gets me going is I would hate to die and be told that I didn't do enough. So like being lazy is like, ugh, I don't even like thinking about being lazy. So
you feel guilty. You feel guilty when you take a night off.
Yeah, like the fact that I have COVID and I've had to lay down, I'm like, I have to make this productive. But really, I think that taking action is the ultimate way to show your gratitude.
I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah. I need help relaxing though. Like, I'll be honest. Sometimes I go a little bit too fast, and that manifests itself in different ways. And so my husband is a really good yin to my yang.
It's good to have a good partner like that.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself going through this coaching, going through the book writing, and stretching yourself? What have you learned about yourself in the last couple of months?
I hate to lose. Being on a show that's a competition, I've recognized that when I'm not doing awesome, that starts to play into my attitude. And I don't like that, because when I'm winning, I'm like, don't even mess with me. Don't even mess with me. But if there's a time where somebody else is winning, I kind of go into a pity party. And I've been working on that. But I do have to remember, like, there's going to be a time and a place for everything. Not only, we can't win all the time, but we don't need to win all of the time. There's times where we can say, you know what, this is not my main priority, so it's really not a big deal, which I've had to learn in this reality TV show, because it's a competition to scale, and we're all in different industries as well. So there's times where I'm being compared to somebody who has 4 locations in their business and they're bringing in a lot more money. And at first I was really mad. I was really mad that I wasn't getting the same reward as other people, but I was like, you know, I'm a one-man show here. And really the most important thing is that I'm working on growth compared to me and not growth compared to anybody else, which is a very important factor in health and fitness, because you look at the diet industry, the fitness industry, like so many problems come from people comparing themselves to other people. So I've definitely had to work on that and admit it too. There's another girl on the show who I met her last year, and she is fantastic. Like, she is amazing at what she does. And when I saw that she was a contestant on the show, I was intimidated, like, right away. And I don't get that way. I rarely feel intimidated. And I heard her talking about her business to one of the producers, and I was like, she makes that much money? Like, that's crazy. And I kind of went into this little hole of like, I don't make that much. And, you know, I want to. So I got on Facebook and I messaged her and I was like, hey, I just have to let you know, like, if I don't tell you this right now, it's going to be weird this entire time. And I said, I don't see you as competition. I want to be like you. I hope that I can learn things from you, because you're at a place where I can only hope to be at, you know, at the end of 6 months. And as a result, like, we're tight and it's fun, and it makes this whole competition of scaling fun, because I'm not competing against her. I'm competing against myself. So when you are aware of that and you make it known and you take all the good parts out of it, then it's only going to be used as part of your fuel to grow.
Yeah, I mean, aren't we often competing against ourselves? And I guess the moment you realize that you're really competing against your own mindset and your own insecurities and your own mental models that you've got going on up here, and the different voices and the different things that we listen to, when you can sort of start to conquer those. And because you're right, if you hadn't mentioned that would have eaten you up the whole time.
Yeah.
Every time you played, right?
Yes.
You'd have already been psyched out every time you, like, you sat across the table from her. Yeah. And I don't like feeling that way. And when I first got cast for the show, we had to fill out a form of, you know, how much money you make, where does all your money come from, how much do you put in advertising, all this stuff. And I actually sat at my computer and I cried. I cried because I felt inadequate. And that's also something that doesn't happen very often at all. And I kept telling myself, once they read my numbers, they're going to say, never mind, we thought you were a big shot and you're not. Right. So, you know, but the fact that I've been involved with so many amazing coaches like yourself, it's like, I don't ever feel little, because that's not what's going to make me grow. Good coaches know that shame is not how you grow. And this happened very early on in my coaching, because I would have somebody come to me and they'd say, you know, I worked with a personal trainer for a long time, and they told me that I wasn't seeing progress because I ate saltines and M&Ms. Are you going to be like that? And I was like, F that. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And if you want somebody to grow and see progress, you have to point out all the things they are already doing right. And you maximize those. You maximize them, and then you have a come to Jesus talk about the things that maybe you're failing at. And you start to make a plan of, how can I start to change this in a very small way, and with the intention of loving myself. So if you were to ask my clients or spend your time going through all of my testimonials, it would be that I'm supportive and loving. And that's exactly what you need in a good coach. So
If anybody out there has a coach that doesn't make you feel good, run. Find another coach that's going to support you no matter where you're at.
Yeah. And a coach that's going to help you understand the why, right? Not just criticizing the behavior or going after the behavior, but understanding maybe why you have that behavior. Why do you have to eat M&Ms and saltines at 11 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Maybe let's have some healthier alternatives earlier on, I don't know. There definitely questions around that, but it's how you approach those. So talk about fun and sustainable fitness. What is that? How did you come up with the name? Why fun and sustainable? Talk about the business a little bit. You've hinted on it a little bit, but let's get into it.
Yeah. I started in September of 2015. Okay. It's 6 years. And when I first began, it was Marci Barker Fitness, which is super clever. But a few years into my business, I was sitting on an airplane next to this man, and we were talking about business, and I pulled out a flyer, and he worked for Martha Stewart and for Target, and it was his job to go around the country and make sure the storefronts matched the magazines. And we were chatting with him, and he was like, I'm confused. He said, you keep saying these words, fun and sustainable, fun and sustainable, fun and sustainable. And he was like, that's nowhere on your flyer. Why? Why is that nowhere on your flyer? And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to change. I need to really tell people it's all about fun and sustainable. And when it comes to me creating custom plans for my clients, those are the main goals, fun and sustainable, because if it's not enjoyable, you will not stick to it. If you don't find some aspects that make you feel good, you can only white knuckle it for so long. Sustainable, meaning that it fits into your lifestyle. Because if you're doing something super extreme, I can't tell you how many people, they've started a new meal plan, they get the shopping list, and they go buy all of this food that they're not used to eating. They don't know how to prep it, and it all goes to waste. And so fun and sustainable really is the idea that everything's put together for you. It's going to be enjoyable, and it's going to fit your lifestyle, which means you're going to see success with it because you can actually stick to it. So fun and sustainable, really, I feel like I lucked out, because really everything in life should be fun and sustainable. It should be something that you can do for a long time. So in my business, I help people shift habits with movement, mindset, and nutrition. And many times I'll work with a client on just one track at a time, because when you're motivated to work on something, you're going to see better results. So instead of throwing it all at you all at once, we'll take one thing at a time, whether it's movement or improving your eating style or making sure that you are setting the right goals so that your mindset can be in the right place. And then my programs are all custom to you. And so we'll make sure that we know what your end goal is and all of the little action steps that are going to get you there. So it really is simple when the goals are appropriate for you. It's not going to be something that's super crazy, like start eating this way and start going to the gym forever. It's like the sky is the limit with the way that I program, because you have to be happy. You have to be happy now. And a lot of times people fail just because their plan is not set up for them.
How do you do that online?
Online?
Yeah, how do you do that online effectively?
Okay, so my husband is a computer programmer, makes it super simple. And so he custom built my entire platform. And so when we get together on the phone, then I put together your goals, and the accountability happens through my app and through your client dashboard. So a lot of it is calls when we do coaching calls. And then I have a program that shows you all of the different workouts. If we put together a workout plan for you, you just click on the exercise and a video will pop up and it will show you how to do it. So everything is pretty seamless. Like, it's weird because when COVID happened and people were going to the internet, I was like, oh, I've been here for a long time doing this already. So the power of Zoom is incredible. So, and there are lots of benefits to working out with a trainer in the gym, but ultimately that's not sustainable. I don't think that people plan on having a trainer with them at all times in order to work out successfully is sustainable. So my job is to help you know, learn, and execute movement that makes you feel good. And you shouldn't always need somebody to tell you exactly what to do all the time. If you are doing what's right for you, then the exercise you engage in is going to be adequate, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. And it should be something that, I mean, I do have a personal trainer, but, I have some pretty aggressive goals, but, and for me, it's accountability. It's a certain type of accountability that I need. Mm-hmm. But, he's not with me when I eat. He's not with me when that burger looks really good at lunch. And there's no plan. I mean, for me, I think what's missing is that other plan, right? That you talked about those three elements. Some of the stuff we do together is not fun, but there are those other two elements, the nutrition, and then I think is that often what's missing from people?
It's interesting because it's different for everybody. I have one client who she came to me and she said, I can't get rid of this last 10 pounds. And you look at her picture and you're like, you are insane if you think you need to lose 10 pounds. She already had a visible amount of muscle. She looked fantastic. But for her, she was like, I need to lose 10 pounds. So for me as a professional, I'm like, your exercise is just fine. Your nutrition, let's take a look at. Because if she wants to lose 10 pounds, diet industry tells her you need to eat less and move more. So when I took a look at her nutrition, she was actually starving herself. She was under eating. And I told her, here's your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, the amount of calories your body needs to burn at rest to survive. And so I had her start eating enough food for her lifestyle, for her goals, and she soon didn't care about the scale anymore. She was like, I feel so much better. Why did I want to lose 10 pounds? And I take a deep breath, I don't say I told you so, but it's like, no. Yeah, what's more important here? Was it 10 pounds? No. But her nutrition, what's important? Yes, you need to make sure that you fuel your body well, because you want to be able to keep up with life. And if you're not feeding your body enough, that's a really good recipe for getting sick. And the mindset too. The mindset, it's like she wasn't ready to change her mindset until her nutrition allowed her to be in a certain state. So the crazy thing is everybody's going to be different. Like I couldn't take that and apply it to another client because maybe their mindset is in the wrong place. And maybe they think they're exercising effectively, but they're not. Like it's going to be different for everybody. But ultimately, as I help my clients with their body, my ultimate goal is here, because it doesn't matter what you look like if you hate yourself. You have to live with yourself, and you're the one that has to deal with everything that's going on in your head. So you need to be in a place where you can look in the mirror and honestly love what you see, because you're not just looking at your physical self, you're looking at who you are as a person.
Yeah, that's actually who you're looking at.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable there, you're spot on.
Yeah.
And that's often, one of the biggest challenges, even in executive coaching, is you end up getting into who they are, and that, if they're not happy there, then what they do at work is irrelevant. So you've got a couple things coming up. You've got, and thank you for that. We're getting close to the end, but I wanted to ask you about, you've got a challenge, a 21-day challenge, workout challenge coming up in September. How do people find that? How do people sign up for that? And how do they get in touch with you if they want to just chat with you about becoming a client or about what they're doing? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, my bookmark website is marci360.com, and you can find all of my contact information there. Also, due to COVID, I canceled my masterclass last night, so that will be happening next week. So I would love for people to hop on my mental intensity masterclass, where we can talk more about how to get your mindset in the right place so that you can take action physically in an effective way. So if they go to marci360.com, they can register for that class, and also contact me through any of my social media handles.
Okay, great. And thank you. When is the book coming out, by the way?
Around mid-November.
Okay. And you'll have a link on marci360.com. You'll have a link on there for pre-sales, and
people and they can reserve a copy now on that link as well.
Oh, good. Excellent. We'll put the link up in the show at the end of the show for people so they can find it pretty easily. Thank you. I know you're going to go collapse now because
bath time. I'm going to go get in the bath.
And relax a little bit, take a break since you've got COVID and need to rest. Appreciate that. And this has been a lot of fun. We need to do this again. I'd love to do sort of check in with you on occasion to see if you've got any tips for us, any help that you can help with our audience. I'm sure every single one of us struggles with our health and our nutrition, and anytime we can have you motivate us, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and actually that's my favorite thing to do is shoot me a question. Usually I ask people, what's your main goal and your biggest struggle? And then we can start the conversation and get you going in the right direction. But that's my favorite part is diving deep into what you're dealing with. And also if you're like, I've tried this and it's not working, I can tell you why it's not working. So if you have any question at all, just message me. And I love doing that.
Well, maybe we should have a live show where we just take questions.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, where we just get people's what they're dealing with and what they're finding and what they're dealing with. So that might be kind of fun.
Yeah, and for the mental intensity masterclass, as soon as they get registered, I do set up a call with them to go over those things, so that when I teach the mental intensity masterclass, I teach you exactly what you need to know to start seeing some results. So
okay, and that's is that a sort of a prelude to your class, or what is this masterclass?
Yeah, the mental intensity masterclass is an introduction to my mindset track. So for my group coaching and individual coaching, but really it's to help you learn how to get over your stumbling blocks fast, and how to put together kind of like your toolkit of when something triggers you or you're struggling, it's do XYZ to get you on track again.
So you mentioned something there that I didn't catch. I should have mentioned earlier, but I know you do a lot of individual coaching, but you just mentioned group coaching. So you do group coaching.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
So if there's an organization, a business, or a group of people that want sort of some help to jumpstart their fitness, or they want to work together on it, you do that kind of work.
Yes, and working together in a group is actually very fun. People get really great results because you have a built-in community of people who are doing the same thing as you. So it makes it easier to take action because you're being supported right off the bat. The biggest reason people might want to do individual coaching is because they're working through a lot of stuff that maybe they don't want to share. And I totally get that, because health is a very personal, intimate thing. So yeah, that's why I have options for both. But in a group is fun. I just am used to teaching a lot of people at once. And the synergy or the mastermind that happens is fantastic.
So when is the show going to come out? When is the show being aired?
That is a great question. And I think everybody watching should contact the producers and say, when is this coming out? But hopefully the spring. Hopefully it will. And I've been told it will be released on LinkedIn and YouTube first, because it is geared towards business owners and entrepreneurs. And then after that, they'll get it on Netflix and Amazon. But you're going to want to watch it. If I was betting on anybody, I'd be betting on myself. So I can't wait until it comes out.
Yeah. Having been on a reality show myself just recently, I know that restraint. But if I was a betting person, I would bet on you too.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, have a good one. I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
We'll talk again on the show very soon. Thanks, Marci.
Okay, thank you. You're the best.
And thank you for being here on Power Lunch Live. It has been a pleasure to have you today. We'll be back next week with a whole nother group of shows. Until then, have a great week and be productive, and see you next week.